I remember the exact moment the world started to crack. It was a Tuesday evening, the kind where the sun sets too early, leaving the sky bruised in purples and black. I was sitting in my apartment, scrolling through my phone endless feeds of perfect lives, filtered smiles, and viral memes that promised a quick laugh but delivered only a hollow echo. But then, something shifted. Not in the room, not in the air, but in me. As I stared at the screen, my reflection stared back from the glass, not my usual tired eyes, but something off. The lines of my face seemed pixelated, like a low-res image buffering in slow motion. I blinked, and it was gone. Just a trick of the light, I told myself. But the unease lingered, a whisper in the back of my mind. What if this isn't real? What if you're not who you think you are? That night, sleep evaded me. I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling fan spinning lazily above, its blades humming a monotonous rhythm. Every rotation felt like a loop, a programmed cycle repeating ad infinitum. My thoughts raced. Why do I cling to beliefs that clash with what I see? Why does my mind bend reality to fit a narrative that feels increasingly fragile? It was as if my brain was at war with itself, one part screaming for truth, the other desperately patching the holes with lies. I got up, paced the room, and glanced at the mirror. There it was again, that glitch. My hand reached out, but the reflection lagged, a fraction of a second behind. Heart pounding, I whispered to myself, this can't be happening. But it was. And in that instant, a question pierced through. If the self is just a construct, a bundle of conflicting ideas fighting for dominance, how can we ever know what's real? Free will? Reality? Or are we all just simulations, dancing to code we can't see? The room felt smaller, the walls closing in like a digital cage. I grabbed my journal, scribbling furiously. Cognitive dissonance, the tension when your beliefs don't match your actions or the evidence. Festinger knew it back in the 50s, with his experiments on how people twist reality to ease the discomfort. But this wasn't some lab test. This was my life unraveling. And as the clock ticked past midnight, I wondered, what if the greatest dissonance isn't in our minds, but in the fabric of existence itself? What if we're living in a simulation, and the glitches are the truth bleeding through? By dawn, I was hooked not on answers, but on the terror of the question. Because once you see the crack, you can't unsee it. And that's when everything changed. Life before the glitch was ordinary, predictable, even comforting in its monotony. I worked as a graphic designer in a mid-sized tech firm in Seattle, the kind of place where everyone pretends to love open-plan offices and free kombucha. My days blurred into a routine: wake at 7 a.m. to the blare of my alarm, brew coffee that tasted like regret, commute through rain, slicked streets, and dive into pixels on a screen. Create logos, edit photos, make the digital world look flawless. Irony, right? Me, the fixer of illusions, never questioning my own. Home was a one-bedroom apartment overlooking the Puget Sound, where fog rolled in like forgotten dreams. I had friends, casual ones, the type you text memes to but never confess your deepest fears. There was Sarah, my on-again, off-again girlfriend, who worked in marketing and believed in manifestation. Visualize what you want, she'd say, and the universe delivers. I'd nod, smiling, even as a part of me rolled my eyes. But I played along because it was easier. That's how I lived. Smoothing edges, avoiding friction. Evenings were for escapism. I'd binge Netflix shows about alternate realities, Black Mirror, The Matrix, laughing at how mind-bending they were, all while munching on takeout despite knowing I should eat healthier. Cognitive dissonance in action. I'd think fleetingly, recalling Psych 101 from college, Leon Festinger's theory, that uncomfortable buzz when your actions contradict your beliefs, like smokers who know it's killing them but light up anyway, rationalizing just one more. I did it too, procrastinated on gym memberships, scrolled social media for hours while preaching mindfulness, but it never bothered me much. Why fix what isn't broken? Subtly though, the off notes crept in. Little things at first. Like when I drive home and swear the traffic lights sync too perfectly, as if programmed for my arrival. Or dreams where I'd wake up in my bed only to realize I was still dreaming layers upon layers, like code nested in code. I'd shake it off with coffee and work, burying the unease under deadlines. Sarah noticed my distraction one weekend. We were hiking in the Olympics, the air crisp with pine and mist. "You're quiet," she said, lacing her fingers with mine. "What's up?" I hesitated, then lied. "Just work stress." But inside, a voice nagged. Why lie? Why not tell her about the glitches? Because admitting it would make it real. Instead, I changed the subject, pointing out a deer in the distance. We laughed, took selfies, posted them with captions like, "Nature heals." Likes poured in, validating our perfect moment. But as I stared at the photo later, something felt wrong. The colors too vibrant, our smiles too symmetrical. Work amplified the unease. Designing VR interfaces for a new client, I'd lose myself in simulations. Virtual worlds where users could be anyone, anywhere. It's the future, my boss enthused. Escape reality. But what if reality was the escape? I'd read Nick Bostrom's paper in philosophy class years ago, The Simulation Argument. His trilemma. Either civilizations go extinct before creating sims, or they choose not to, or we're likely in one. I dismissed it as stoner philosophy back then. Now it echoed. Nights grew restless. I'd lie awake, phone in hand, doom-scrolling articles on psychology. Festinger's 1957 experiment. Students paid to lie about a boring task. Those paid 1 changed their beliefs more than those paid 20. They had to justify the lie internally. That's me, I thought. Justifying my life, my choices, to avoid the pain of change. One evening, after a particularly grueling day, I cooked dinner pasta. Simple. But as I boiled water, the steam fogged the window. And in the reflection, my face lagged again. Just a second, but enough to spike my heart rate. I rubbed my eyes, blamed fatigue. Sarah called. "Movie night?" I agreed, needing normalcy. We watched Inception, her head on my shoulder. Dreams within dreams. "Creepy, huh?" she murmured. I nodded, but inside, the question festered. What if this is the dream? The normalcy cracked further. At a company party, I overheard colleagues debating AI ethics. If Sims become sentient, one said, do we owe them rights? Laughter followed, but I froze. Sentient Sims like us? I excused myself, stepped outside into the rain. The city lights blurred, and for a moment, they looked like code raining down, Matrix style. I laughed it off, but the dissonance grew. Beliefs clashing. This is real versus media. This can't be. By week's end, the routine felt like a script. Wake, work, eat, sleep, repeat. But the glitches multiplied. Delayed echoes in conversations. Deja vu that hit like a punch. I confided in no one, rationalizing. Stress. Overwork. Deep down, I knew better. The mind lies to protect itself, Festinger said. Mine was building walls against a truth I wasn't ready for. It happened on a stormy Thursday, the kind where thunder rattles windows like an impatient visitor. I was alone in the apartment, Sarah out with friends. Rain lashed the glass, and I paced, journal in hand, scribbling doubts, glitches, loops. Is this dissonance or madness? Then, the power flickered. Lights dimmed, surged, died. In the dark, my phone buzzed, low battery, but alive. I grabbed it, flashlight on, casting shadows that danced unnaturally. As I moved to the window, lightning flashed, illuminating the room. And there, in the reflection, my face, but not mine. Eyes hollow, skin textured like static snow on an old TV. Panic surged. I dropped the phone, it clattered, screen cracking. Picking it up, the cracks spread like veins, and through it, the home screen glitched, apps rearranging themselves. No, I whispered, heart hammering. I restarted the device, but the boot sequence lagged, pixels bleeding. Sitting on the floor, back against the wall, I breathed deep. Just a malfunction. Coincidence. But the storm outside mirrored my turmoil, chaos I couldn't control. Memories flooded. Childhood fears of the dark, where monsters lurked because my mind said so. Now, the monster was doubt. I searched online, power back on. Reality glitches. Forums lit up with stories, people seeing lags, feeling scripted. One post referenced Bostrom. If we're simulated, glitches are bugs in the code. Another tied it to cognitive dissonance. Your brain knows it's fake, but clings to belief to avoid collapse. The trigger, a video on Festinger's study. Watching, I saw parallels participants lying for $1, then believing the lie to ease tension. That's me, I realized, clinging to real life despite evidence. The storm peaked, thunder booming like judgment. I stood, stared out, city lights winking like distant stars in a programmed sky. In that moment, reflection hit. My life, a series of justifications. Ignoring health for convenience, relationships for comfort. But this questioned existence. Free will or code dictating choices? The event shattered my denial. No more rationalizing. I had to dive deeper or risk the dissonance consuming me. With the storm subsiding, I delved in. Laptop open, notes scattered. I pieced together the puzzle. Cognitive dissonance meets simulation theory. It wasn't just psychology. It was philosophy unmasked. First, cognitive dissonance. Leon Festinger, 1957, his landmark experiment at Stanford. Students performed a tedious task, turning pegs on a board for an hour. Boring as hell. Then, they were asked to lie to the next participant, saying it was fun. Half got 1, half 20. The twist? The one group later rated the task as more enjoyable. Why? The pay was too low to justify the lie, so they changed their belief to reduce discomfort. Dissonance resolved. Visualize it. Me, narrating over archival footage, black and white labs. Subjects fidgeting. The mind hates conflict, I'd say. It twists facts, adds justifications, like smokers knowing cancer risks but saying, it relaxes me. Or dieters cheating with one bite won't hurt. Real life. Sunbathers ignoring skin cancer stats. Rationalizing, I tan safely. The brain's a master illusionist. But what if the dissonance is cosmic? Enter Nick Bostrom, 2003 paper. Are you living in a computer simulation? Philosophical, quarterly. His argument, a trilemma. Advanced civilizations, post-human, could run ancestor simulations, detailed worlds with conscious beings. If they do, and run many, then most minds like ours are simulated, not base reality. Break it down visually. Animated graphics, Earth evolving to tech utopia. Proposition 1. Humans go extinct before post-human stage. AI apocalypse, climate doom. Dark imagery, ruined cities. Proposition 2. Post-humans exist but don't run Sims ethical bans. Boredom. Sterile labs, idle supercomputers. Proposition 3. We're almost certainly simulated. Zoom into a brain, pixels forming thoughts. Bostrom's math. If one posthuman sieve runs billions of Sims, odds favor simulation. Subtle reference. Elon Musk echoing it. 1 in billions chance we're in base reality. Blend them. Dissonance in a sim. Imagine knowing deep down this is code, but believing it's real to function. Glitches? Bugs triggering dissonance. Your mind rationalizes. Eye trick. Stress. But the tension builds. Storytelling. Relate to my glitches. Like Festinger's subjects, I justified anomalies. But Bostrom asks, why assume base? Evidence. Quantum weirdness. Like observer effect reality changes when watched. Like lazy rendering in a game. Deeper. Philosophical roots. Descartes' evil demon. Updated to matrix. If simulated, free will, or predetermined code, tied to experiments. Milgram's obedience, people shocking others because authority said so. Dissonance resolved by blaming the system. Visual narrative. Me walking virtual streets. Buildings glitching. Cognitive dissonance protects the Sim's integrity. Question too hard, and the mind crashes. Real insights. Recent studies, subtle nod to 2020 psych papers, dissonance in conspiracy believers, holding conflicting views but doubling down. In sim theory, doubters labeled glitchy code. Climax reveal. The concept, Your reality dissonance is the Sim's firewall. Break through, and truth emerges or madness. Visual. Animated diagrams of Festinger's experiment, merging with Sim code. Narrator's voice echoes slightly distorted. Faith. Unraveling 500 words. The revelations hit like a virus, spreading through my thoughts. Days blurred, work ignored, calls unanswered. Sarah texted, "You okay?" I replied, "Fine," but wasn't. Glitches escalated. Conversations looping. Objects clipping through walls like bad renders. I spiraled. Questioned memories. Was childhood real? Or backstory code? Dissonance peaked, believing in Sim clashed with craving normalcy. Like Festinger's low-paid liars, I twisted. Maybe it's a test. Endure, ascend. Nights. Staring at screens. Simulating Sims in games. If I code worlds, I thought, posthumans code mine. Bostrom's words haunted. Odds stacked against base reality. Unraveling deepened. Isolated. I wandered streets, seeing patterns NPC, like pedestrians, scripted events. Paranoia or awakening? The mind unraveled. Threads pulling apart. Visual. Fast. Cut montage of glitches. Narrator's face fracturing like glass. 6. Emotional climax. 1,000 words. It built to a breaking point. One night, alone, I confronted the mirror. "Show me," I demanded. The reflection glitched violently, face dissolving into code, terror gripped. "This isn't me." Identity crisis erupted. Who was I? A designer, lover, or data stream? Tears flowed first, real emotion in weeks. Sarah burst in. She had a key. "What's happening?" I confessed everything glitches, theories. She listened, horrified. "You're scaring me," she said, but her eyes lagged. "You're part of it," I accused. Argument escalated. "This is real," she cried. But dissonance tore me. Loving her clashed with believing her simulated. Like Stockholm Syndrome, bonded to my captor. Reality. Climax. I hacked my mind, meditated, seeking base. Visions. Layers peeling, revealing code. Emotional peak. Grief for lost self. Rage at deception. If simulated, my pain scripted. Love's algorithms. Sarah left, door slamming. Alone, I shattered, sobbing, questioning existence. Bostrom's trilemma mocked. Extinct? Indifferent? Or trapped? But epiphany. Dissonance as key. Embrace conflict, shatter illusion. Yet the cost sanity? Visual. Intense close-ups, tears, glitches intensifying. Dramatic music swells. 7. Philosophical end. 500 words. As dawn broke, calm settled. The glitches faded, but the question lingered. I stepped outside, world crisp yet suspect. Festinger taught. Minds adapt. Bostrom warned. Reality probabilistic. If the mind lies to itself, resolving dissonance with fictions, can we trust beliefs in a potential Sim? Truth elusive. Viewers, reflect. Notice your dissonances, habits clashing values, realities feeling off. Is it psychology or hint of deeper code? The haunting query. If we can deceive ourselves so seamlessly, what truths hide in the discomfort we avoid?